Using the 5 E's template can help your students understand what they're learning about at a higher level. And so, what we're going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and just walk through some ways that you can engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate with your students. So, we're going to open up this template right here and kind of work from this Google slide. So, I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this template. And we're going to call this one the 5 E's. And we're actually going to focus in on a concept that you might use in ELA. So I want my students to really focus about the theme. And I'll add this example for you in the Kami activity as well. So if you want to see the final activity. Okay, so what we're going to do for engage, the first activity is engage. When you're looking at engage, you really want to capture your students' interests. You want to engage questions, critical thinking about that concept or skill. You also want to uncover any prior knowledge your students have, or you might even want to set the stage for that new learning. So some ideas are short games, picture books, video clips that might hook your students. You might even use real-world problems or connection to previous concepts. So for this activity, since we're focusing on theme, I am going to engage my students with a video. It's actually a fable, the tortoise and the hare, okay? Because I want them to really just kind of learn what they're going to do first. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this slide, and I'm going to write engage up here. And let's go ahead and change it to pink. And then I'm going to have my students watch a video on the tortoise and the hare. And I'm going to actually add that video later on when I upload this to Kami. Okay, so again, we're going to watch first this video. And then I want to ask my students, after they watch, just going to ask them what do you think is the moral or message of the story. Okay, so again, I'm just trying to engage them. I'm trying to see if they're able to take this fable and really understand what the message or the moral of the story is to introduce them to theme. And I'm going to go ahead and change this as well to theme. So now that we've engaged, we're now ready for explore. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, write explore, and let's go ahead and change this to this color because I like it to match. There we go, explore. So when we go into the explore stage, this is where students are maybe utilizing hands-on or their minds on the activity. So they're either investigating or inquiring some type of learning. They also might be trying to facilitate discussions as students are working. They might be watching and listening to what their classmates have to say about the topic. So a really great way to use explore is with cooperative learning, hands-on learning, and even investigation. So again, we are talking about the theme. So what I want to do is I want my students to work in those cooperative groups. And with their groups, I want them, there's going to be these short stories and or experts from a model. So they are going to review the different short stories or excerpts from a novel. Okay, so I really want them to review them. And when they review these stories, I want my students to read, their stories and discuss what the group thinks about the theme might be. Okay, so again, I want them to just kind of review those short stories, but then I also want them to work with their group and really talk about what is it, that theme might be about. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this little box because I'm going to say maybe there's 4 stories, and I want them to add right here what that theme is for those stories. So I'm going to go ahead and try to find that page. There we go. Let me go ahead and align these so they're perfect. And my mouse is going crazy for some reason. There we go. Okay. So that's the Explore. Okay. They're going to add their theme right here for each of those different stories. And maybe I want them to have a choice in audio, text, or even video on how they respond. The next part is the Explain. When we're looking over Explain, students are going to justify or explain the activity's discovery. Okay, so again, they're kind of looking, that's starting to introduce maybe important terms and vocabulary to the students. You also might try to use a wide range of questions to help that student connect their exploration, so what they explored, to this concept. So this is where vocabulary organizers, notes, foldables, maybe even videos might come into play for your students to master this material. And so when we're looking at Explain, right, we really want our students to work on theme. And so what we're going to do is they might come to me, because I'm probably going to make this self-paced as well. So Explain. And again, I'm going to go ahead and match that color. I think it was this one. And I want my students to join, or maybe we'll do watch the mini lesson on theme and take notes. Okay, and I really want them at the end to explain, how does and take notes. We'll just do take notes. So again, I'm going to have them take notes right here and explain what they learned. So they're going to watch a video that I'm going to have and then explain by taking notes. Next up is elaborate. So students are now going to duplicate. We're going to go into elaboration. And again, I'm going to go ahead and change that color. And for this, when we're looking at elaboration, this is really helping the students extend their learning and understanding of the concept in new situations. It's also allowing them to use those vocabulary words that we kind of have talked about maybe in that mini lesson. Students can also collaborate with other students to help with that prior learning and expand their thinking. So some action or activities that students might take a part of is problem-solving tasks, group investigations, real-world tasks, independent practice, maybe a game, stations, or even a variety of different ways that you can kind of incorporate stations. So for my theme activity, to deepen our students' understanding, we're going to allow them to now apply their knowledge, right? We want our students to apply those knowledges when it comes to what they learned about. So what students are going to do in this activity is I'm going to have students maybe use a graphic organizer, and they are going to identify and analyze the theme, providing evidence from the text to support their answer. So before they were able to just kind of, work with partners, but now I really want them to take it to the next step. And I'm going to go ahead and just create a table, and I want them to identify the theme. I also want them to provide evidence from the text to support their theme. Okay, let's go ahead and resize this just a little bit. Okay, and then my students can apply that right there. I'm going to show you how students can level this up in Kami as well. All right, so now that we've elaborated, we're now ready to evaluate. So that final stage in this ease. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this again, and I'm going to call this the evaluate. This is where students are going to demonstrate mastery within their learning. So this is where students are going to have to independently show that they have mastered the concepts. This is where we're going to assess students' progress through maybe even observations or determine next steps for instruction. This is where we're able to say, okay, this is where they're struggling. We're going to go back and re-engage in this. This might be a journal task. This might be a traditional worksheet, a quiz, an exit ticket, problem-solving task, observations, right, and performance tasks. So lots of different options when it comes to how we evaluate our students' learning. So for this activity, what we're going to do is we are going to again, we're looking at theme. So that's where we're going to really evaluate our students and their knowledge. So what students are going to do is they are going to maybe compare and contrast the theme with a partner, right? That could be something that we could have a class discussion with. I might even give students a writing assignment where they have to identify the theme and support their answers, right? So I'm going to actually have my students, I'm going to go ahead and grab this text. So to evaluate, students are going to write a paragraph about a topic and explain the theme in their writing using audio. Okay. And so now I'm ready to assign this to my students. So to assign this to my students, I'm going to go ahead and come on over here and I'm going to go to my Google Classroom. And once I'm in my Google Classroom, I can assign this assignment to my students. So again, I've got the theme right here. And students are going to come into Classwork, create, and I'm going to create a Kami assignment. You can use Schoology, Microsoft Teams, and Canvas to also assign it this way as well. So I'm going to go ahead and find that assignment, which is right here, and I'm going to call this theme. I'm going to make a copy for every single one of my students and go ahead and assign it. I'm going to go ahead and open up a student account so I can just show you what I want my students to do. And so with my students, they're going to come on in and they're going to find that assignment in my Google Classroom. Let me go ahead and sign in again. Doesn't look like it caught it. And when my students go over to classwork, they're going to go to that assignment. They're going to hit open with Kami. Students will have all of the tools in order to work on this project. And what I like my students to do is to check where they're at in their learning. So with the Engage, students are going to read The Tortoise and Hare, but I forgot to add that video. So what I'm able to do is I can come back to my Google Classroom and I can go to Theme, View Instructions, and I can actually go into Update Work. And what I'm able to do with Update Work is I forgot that video of Tortoise and the Hare. I can go into Add Media, YouTube, open up YouTube, find that video. We'll do this one right here, copy the URL, and paste it right here. I'm going to go ahead and insert this video right here. So again, this is the video I wanted my students to watch. Publish those changes, publish, and guess what? My students get those changes automatically on their screen. So they're going to watch, and then they're going to explain, what they think is the moral or the message of the story. Then they're going to review those passages that I have, and they are going to come in and comment and leave what they think each theme of each of those different stories are about. Students are going to watch the mini lesson, but guess what? I forgot to record the mini lesson. So again, I can go back into my learning management, hit update work, create a video, and then I can publish those changes for my students. So I'm going to grab the comment tool, screen capture, really quickly record about theme and how my students are able to use that in their learning. Hit done, publish those changes, publish. And what's great is my students are getting those updates in real time. And then they're ready to evaluate. So they're going to identify a theme, maybe using the text box. But then I want them to show me where it's taking place. So they're going to use screen capture and they're going to do their entire screen and show me on the tab where in their reading that shows that evidence. So again, they're going to try to show me using that screen share and then evaluate. Students are then going to write about their topic and then they're going to explain what their theme is using audio. And then students can even come in with the highlighter tool and highlight the important textual evidence that shows their theme in their own paragraph. And as a teacher, I'm able to come in here to ClassView and I can see all of my students working at the exact same time on this concept to intervene as needed on this topic. And so I love to use these like check marks because then I can quickly see where my students are in each stage of the 5E lesson plan. All right, I hope you enjoy and give this a try.